So I'm gonna go through this and show you how to remove the valve and what you'll need to do to rebuild it. I'll probably make a separate video on rebuilding it, but I'm at least gonna show you how to remove it. You will need a few tools. You'll need an Allen wrench. You'll actually need a 5/32. You're going to need a 7/16, either a wrench or a socket, a 9mm, and a 3/8" wrench. I would suggest, and I've told people this in other videos, get a T-handle Allen wrench set. Something like this. This is $30 on Amazon, or you can buy a $7 set at Harbor Freight. So the first thing you want to do, get my glasses off so I can see a little better. I can only read with those. You want to hold your solution line with your 3/8. Use your 9/16 to take off your bottom fitting. And the reason you want to take this bottom solution line off before you do the top is because when you replace it, you don't want this to twist all around. We could twist it into here. All you do is take your 5/32 wrench, you hold it. I put a little Loctite on these, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to re-Loctite them. Yes, there is some residual inside the bolt, so it will still probably hold tight. Simple as taking those two out. Might have to wiggle it, jiggle it, tap it. Grab my nut here. But you want to get both of these screws out here. You basically pop this up. Take your palms. The whole assembly will come up. Now I use a rubber mallet when I'm putting it back together, just to tap it down to the right point, or you could use your fist, and I will show you that. So you take your 9/16, take the top of the solution line off, and now you've got your whole valve assembly. We're going to go over to the table and rebuild it. Okay, this valve was stuck. I've got calls a few times for it. A lot of times it's from too much heat. Maybe their heater got stuck on, or they cranked it up to 2000 PSI. This valve here is made by Mossmatic. It's rated at 1500 PSI. So it was stuck. I'm gonna crack it open. We've got a 15/16" wrench, or you can use an adjustable wrench. Helps to have a vise. If you don't have one, have your buddy hold it. But these are on a little bit tight. We're gonna remove the cap. And then there's a 2-piece stem in here that we need to pull out. First the cap, then we've got a spring. And then this is the stem. And sometimes, you know, they're clogged with powder. Say if people are using a powdered rinse, it's not dissolving correctly. It'll basically get stuck up in the cap, because this is like a cylinder on a car. It needs to be nice and smooth and clean. So I'm gonna pull the stem out, and right away right here I can see that this one failed. This is probably too much heat. A lot of times people run burners and their heaters will get stuck, and this will kind of warp up out of here. So I could basically fix this by putting in a new Teflon ring, but I'm gonna rebuild the whole valve so I can show you what goes on. Let me put this a little closer so you can see. Okay, so with the new rebuild kit, this comes with a spring, comes with an O-ring for the cap. We have 2 black O-rings, that's for the stem, and 2 Teflon rings, that's also for the stem. And this is the part that failed. This is a Teflon ring, and that goes in the middle. So this is a 2-piece stem here, and we're gonna need a couple of wrenches to take this apart. This is a 1/4 inch and a 3/8. 3/8 will go on this part, or adjustable wrenches, whatever you guys got. Okay, this is righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. You take this stem apart. It's 2 pieces. I know I keep repeating myself, and I'm going to. This is the Teflon ring that failed. We're gonna throw that to the side. If I had to, I could just put this Teflon ring in, bam, it's fixed. So what I'm gonna do is show a complete rebuild. You wanna take a dental pick And you actually want to take out your O-rings first. A little easier, you can just grab the rubber or just rip it all off of here. It really doesn't matter. I mean, they're old. If you're replacing them, who cares? So we get that off. Let me get through the O-ring here and take it off. Sometimes you gotta, work it a little bit or what have you. I ripped that one, doesn't really matter. So on the bottom of the stem, same thing. Get those off. And just remember, the white Teflon is at the top. If this was together, there's a top and there's a bottom. The bottom is where the spring goes in with the hole. I did poke myself, so you guys will have to deal with a little blood here. So I'm gonna put this together here basically and go from there. Let me wipe this down and see what we got. I use a little bit of O-ring lube. This is Parker O-ring lube. You can use Vaseline, whatever you've got handy, but you need something to lubricate the O-rings. So I'm going to take my black O-rings here first. This is the top part of the stem. And it gets a little tricky. Just gonna be patient. I'm shooting a video, so I'm kind of a little nervous, but just takes a little patience. Boy, I'd feel sorry for the guys that got to build a bunch of these, but they probably got some neat tricks. So I'm going to use my little poker here. Wish I'd used a screwdriver. I probably wouldn't have poked myself. And just kind of walk it onto there best you can. Okay. Then we're going to take the bottom. We're going to walk this one right onto here. Teflon ring. This is split. If you can see, it's got a split, so that's normal for it to be like that. That way you've got some room to work it. And just slide it on. Take your top. Slide that on. You want to put your O-ring, make sure it seats. There's a flange here. Make sure it seats down into there well. And then you can put the two together. Make sure everything's lined up. Take your wrenches and get it nice and tight. And then what I'll do is put a little more O-ring lube on these. Keep it from ripping or anything when you're putting it back in. You also want to make sure that your cylinder inside your valve is clean. So look in there, use some CLR or some uric acid. Make sure your cylinder's clean. This one looks good. You also want to make sure your cap is really clean. I don't know if you can see in there. Just a little bit of debris. Nothing crazy. Okay. And then you also want to replace your cap O-ring, which is also supplied. I've got enough lube on my fingers, I'm not even gonna worry about getting any more on there, so we've got enough. We want to take our new spring, we're going to put it in our stem, and this is all lubed, and we're just sliding this. Let me get back. Oh, I thought I zoomed it in, maybe not. That might be good enough. Okay. So we just want to slide that in there, reinstall our cap. Tighten it up. Take it out of our vise and perfect. Now what you want to look at, we had switched manufacturers a couple years back. We used to buy a valve from Precision Fluid Controls, and I'm going to zoom this in for this. Let's see what we got here. Okay, that's not that one. Let's zoom into there. This was a valve made by Precision Fluid Controls. And the only way that you can tell what valve you have is either give us your serial number when you're ordering it, and if you're not sure, please don't order it, call and we'll make sure we get you the right one based off of the serial number. As you see, this just has a PSI rating and a direction for the valve. Okay, and these were probably, they were made by production or Precision Fluid Controls. Butler started making these because there were so many out there. So you can actually get the rebuild kits from us, or you can get them from Butler. Now, for the last few years, Mossmatic has been making our valves, and you see the difference. It's black writing. You can see the Mossmatic symbol up top. It actually is their symbol. It's just covered by the valve mount block a little bit. They take 2 different rebuild kits, and so make sure you clarify that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and reinstall the valve. As you see, you have to line up your holes with your handlebar. I can zoom you in here a little bit closer. Okay, see how the holes are lined up? If you were to turn your handlebar, there's no holes. So if you ever have to replace this valve, what you'll need to do is take off one of your handle grips, pull the handlebar out, and then you can access the 4 screws that hold the valve on. I'm going to get this a little further so we can see. So I'm basically going to take my 9mm wrench, and I'm going to install this top first, then I'm going to hook it up to the head on the bottom. Now, if you ever had to replace the solution line, you're going to want to disconnect your valve. You're going to want to pull this solution line out, which these are very high quality. These are stainless steel Parker solution lines, so it's very rare that we have them blow. So your new one, you would insert in from the bottom to the top. So I will just feed this a little bit, give me a little room. Reinstall my valve. Pull on my solution line a little bit, just so it drops, so it's taut. Knock it in until I can see my holes. You can see my holes real good there. Now you can either wiggle them into there and screw. It takes a little longer. I basically just use a drill bit, and I was trying to make it line it up. So get my wrenches here. Easy. Throw your screws back in. Okay. And they are Loctited when they're bought, so I'm going to use a little bit more here. This is just blue Loctite. I put just a tad in the threads. Very little drop. Get your Allen wrench, and your socket wrench, and these go so that the nuts are in the back. These are acorn nuts, and I think it was a 5/32 Allen wrench. I think I told the size in an earlier video. Don't kill myself. Just so you won't even have to hold them. They'll just kind of, you'll feel when they get tight. And this one I'm going to have to hold a little bit. Next I'll put the solution line on, and we're just about done.